check. So I could have.
Actually, I lost my place.
Yeah.
That's not it.
That's not it.
Concentrating on something.
All right, then that is a good thing. Let's continue. Brothers and sisters.
5 verse 8? Nah, that's, if I go there and like jump around a lot.
What do you want to know? Sure.
Yeah. Second, Baruch, chapter 2. I apologize, everybody. I went to the wrong scripture. That's Baruch, chapter 2, 27 and 35. Which one? Mhm.
One second.
Yep.
This part.
Take your time.
Thank you. So let me get one of y'all apart.
Everybody Bible by you.
Yeah, that's what I was.
The switch that the black one.
This right here?
No,
Oh,
wait.
back right here.
Yeah,
Two.
Right to pieces.
that's it.
Small. Another point I want to bring out too, my brother, everybody knows the apocryphal brings up the Bible to what, 80 books, correct? We know that it's more than just 80 books, right? Apocrypha ties in a lot of stuff to the normal 66 books that we've been reading for years.
Right.
But now that we had 80 books, it makes everything a lot more clear. What I also want to bring up too is that there are other books. Our Father's Word has been spread out. You have to have the spirit of discernment to understand these other books to bring this puzzle together. Okay? As long as you stay in the 66 books like Christianity tell you, you will be lost.
That's
You will get caught up and you will be burnt in the day of judgment. I'm going to tell you just like that. The truth is not always daisies and sunshine. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, what chapter?
Chapter 2,
Verse.
27, 35.
Rock 2, verse 27. O Lord our God, thou hast dealt with us after all the goodness, and according to all that great mercy of thine, as thou spakest by the servant Moses in the day when thou didst command him to write the law before the children of Israel, saying, if ye would not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captives they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am the Lord their God. For I give them an heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and captive, and think upon my name, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds. For they shall remember the way of their fathers, shall sin before the Lord. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their God, and they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land I have given them.
Everybody see verse 32? Which says, that they shall praise me in the land of their captives and think upon my name. That's what we're doing right now. That's what we're doing right now. We come back to that knowledge that we once had. Now, let me ask everybody here, what is our Father's name? Start off.
Father's name?
Yeah, what is our Father's name?
I would call him, well, I was told it was Yahweh.
Correct. Brother.
Yeah.
Yahweh.
I will Yahweh,
Yahweh.
yeah. Yeshai.
Shai.
Yeah.
Ahaya, which is I am that I am.
I can't pronounce it.
Please.
W-A-H.
What's tetragram?
Yahweh, you got tetragram.
Mhm.
YWYH.
That's one.
YWYH.
Yeah.
Sister.
No problem. Hide it for y'all.
Yeah. Sister. No, yeah. Brother. I am. Right.
You can just, yeah.
Yeah, bring it.
Remember, like, super quick. I just
Yeah, I know.
want to know what everybody was saying too. I was told it was Yahweh,
Mhm.
but I'd rather call him Abba, was our Father.
Right.
So that's what Christ called him. So I stick to that. But YHWH.
Right. Now see, the reason I'm bringing that up, when we're in different denominations, a lot of us just say Jesus, right? That's what we just know to call him by. I was Jehovah's Witness 30 years. So I've been calling him Jehovah for 30 years of my life. You know, that's all I know, you know, at that time. You know, I didn't realize, you know, I was Israelite. I didn't know my bloodline. You know, I didn't know where I come from. But one thing I can always say, he's always answered by that name. Even though Jay wasn't even around, 500 years ago, they just threw that in there.
300.
Yeah.
You said,
But it's I'm starting learning that, you know, it's titled, long you put faith in him, and you know you put all your faith, you seek in him, he will answer. You know, that's why you have to do your best to seek him, right? And again, 32, that's what we're doing right now. In the land of our captivity, we seeking him. We're trying to get back to that knowledge we lost. Bring it up.
When we come to speaking of, like, we say God, that's the first thing that we was all taught when we was kids. We say God, or we say Jesus. We start doing the research, start realizing that these are Greek names. This is how they would represent their gods. Jesus, when you say Jesus, you think about the EU with SUS. We also use that for Zeus. You know, so when you start breaking this down, you start realizing that we are actually calling on gods. And that's what drives us away from our Father. But like you said, by the faith of our hearts, that's yours.
And the reason why I go to I am that I am is, goodness sake, in Exodus chapter 3, we go to Exodus chapter 3, right, real fast.
it's the great I am.
3:13, right?
Exodus chapter 3, verse 13.
Caleb, where you at?
Exodus 3:13. And right here, right here. We go. All right. And Moses said to the Most High, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say unto me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? So Moses right here is specifically talking to the Most High, and I'm going to prove that in Numbers chapter 12. We'll go to Numbers chapter 12 real fast. Numbers 12. Numbers 12, chapter, let's start at, Numbers 12, chapter 12, Numbers chapter 12, verse 8.
Verse 8.
Oh, let's start at 5. Let's start at verse 5. Numbers 12, chapter 12, verse 5. And the Lord came down into the pillar of a cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Moses, and they both Miriam, excuse me, Salah. And they both came forth. And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches, and the similitude of the Most High shall he behold. So, and the Most High says he speaks to Moses mouth to mouth, not in dreams or parables. And so if you go back to Exodus chapter 3:13, I'll restart again. And Moses said unto the Most High, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say to them, the power of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And the Most High said unto Moses, I am that I am. And when you look at I am, it's capitalized right there.
Caps.
It's in all caps. That is a name right there. That's to denote the name. So when it's in caps like that, that is a name. That is not a title or anything. That's why it was capitalized. It's capitalized in your Bibles too? It's all capitalized in your Bibles too? Okay, so that is his name. And how you say that in the Hebrew, it's Ahaya, a shar, Ahaya, which is I am that I am. And it became strong. And he said, Thus shalt thou say to the children of Israel, I am, which is capitalized again, had sent me unto you. And Ahia said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say to the children of Israel, Ahia of your fathers, Ahia of Abraham, Ahia of Isaac, and Ahia of Jacob had sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. So that's why I call him, because I go in the scriptures and actually look and see that this is his name right here. I am that I am. And it's right there. So that's why I just call him Ahia. So I am that I am.
Good explanation.
Not bad.
Thank you.
Where we left off on Baruch, right? Start with one chapter, Baruch 4. We'll start at verse 6, 7. Verses 6 and 7. And this goes back about chastisement.
Verse 7. 6 and 7. You were sold, Baruch 4, verse 6. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved God to wrath. Ye was delivered unto the enemies. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to God.
Right. See, verse 6, he sold us. He allowed us to be sold to the nations. Not for our destruction, but it was to teach us a lesson. See what I'm saying? Punishment, chastisement, right? It said, our ancestors provoked him when they started worshiping false gods. And see, that's why I bring up the names. See, we have to watch the names that we say.
I agree 100% because I got a niece that's got no boys, right? She don't say a good word out of her mouth, none of them. She a cuss. And I look at her like, hey, you should be teaching about that book. Instead of cussing, get them into that book. Teach them. Because you cuss them, they come out and cuss the folks out here that they don't even know. In the old school, he talking after school, he in first grade. This fool talks in after school, man. And I'm like, what is your training for? I tell them, I said, what you got to do with them, because you train them in the book, then learn what they got to do. You got to chastise them the right way. Not look at me cussing them at the same time, no. Because they come out here and cuss you or me.
First, she got to believe too.
Right.
Well, she ain't believing it though.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Psalms 22:6, is it train up a child in the way they should go
And not turn from it.
and not turn away from it? Is that
But also, the Bible says there's power in words. So you have to be careful how you use them.
There you go.
because like the double-edged sword?
Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Right.
And look, feed the food still. That's right, I agree with that. Because I go with it because I know myself. I can come out here today, go anywhere, and I people start cussing. And I mean, they need to be around me, and I tell say, look, I can't be around that stuff. They look at me like I'm crazy. I say, I can't be around all that cussing. Those spirits, I don't need them around me.
It's third spirits.
That's what they say. Yeah.
That's right.
And
You
it
accomplish-
leads you
you already got angels, good angels around you, but you accomplish that. What you speak out your mouth, it manifests.
Right.
It manifests. It's two different realms, the real realm and the spiritual realm.
Right.
So it's principalities that we be dealing with in our basis. So, I mean, that's what you encompass around you. So you have what your mouth say.
Right.
You know, also remember, you are a vessel as well. So when you are around those kids, You know, and those she's over there throwing them thunderbolts. You yourself can still bring that word and say, here, I want y'all to gather around and let me teach y'all something. And that itself, just a little bit.
They should tell me, go with my kid. I said, well, they keep cussing me, I'm gonna do something to them. That's on respect.
You gotta learn that. You gotta learn that.
So they look at me like,
That's your daughter?
no, my brother's daughter. I said, now with my brother, you with your mama, my brother wasn't cussing your mama. But I don't know where you get this in from that you like to cuss about. And that's hard dealing with her and them boys. And now she got a little girl, I kind of feel for her too. Because all that cussing, it don't make sense. The spirit you put in them children. And you don't want that.
Right.
See, the problem, what happened with our nation is that when we decided not to follow the law, again, all curses fell on us. But that's why we all out of water. But no, where there's no law, there's no water. That's why we all messed up now.
Long way on.
Curse.
That stands for that. Like we said, like it's a circle, but it's really old. Right. And that ain't border around that thing. Right.
It's hidden.
Exactly.
I said that was just like a little recap from last week. I don't want to go into too much of it.
I got
Start off
to go to the,
you good, brother?
I want to give you something for that one. Now, you go to Proverbs 18, verse 7. They tell you, a fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of the soul. Proverbs. Yeah, Proverbs 18, verse 7. Proverbs 18, verse 7.
18.
Just to get at it, you go up to 6. They tell you that. The fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. That's deep. It'll snag you. You paving your way. You paving your destiny by speaking blasphemy constantly. And you teaching those kids. And you already tell you don't harm the little ones. You're supposed to teach them.
Right.
You can't yell at them.
Right.
Ain't nobody want to get yelled at. Nobody.
I got a 2-year-old there. When he see me work out, he himself get down and push-ups. He knows the way I discipline him. He said, I say, if you make a mess, I say, clean up that mess right now. Then when you're done, I want you to give me some push-ups. This 2-year-old will clean up his mess, and he will do the best he can, and he will do his little push-ups. That's so cute. That's so cute. And just like you said about that, man, that's so crazy how they call it for strokes. Most people, what they use before they catch a stroke is their mouth, because they're usually yelling at somebody.
Yeah.
Most people who are highly stressed, they're always yelling. They call that out, and the next thing you know, you messed up. That's so true right there.
Let's keep on, brother.
All right, y'all look, y'all have
All right,
a
that's
nice
fair,
day.
brother.
Keep Sabbath, brother.
No, Jeremiah 2 and 11.
Got it?
I agree.
Jeremiah 2, verse 11. Hath the nations changed their gods, which are yet no gods? But my people have changed their glory for that which doeth not profit.
I'll bring this in.
Expound.
We call on all kinds of gods. Go to a Christian church, all I'm saying one name, the same Jesus. You got to know him on the altar and call his name. You got to try to at least, try to figure out the truth and come to that truth and say, okay, now we're Israelites. Now we're Israelites, we changed. But he said, I think he said another language, another time, I'm teaching my people Israel. So what happened is when we called Jesus, because we didn't even know we talked that. But that name still, he didn't have the same voice as in Hebrew. But still we called the name from our heart. He was called to him, that language, that another tongue. So he spoke to us through all these different languages, the denomination, whatever we was in. Because we was calling on him as we knew him. Because we were blinded to the truth. We didn't even know the truth at all. We learned everything the world taught us, Christianity, the whole witness, and all this stuff that we all follow. But he still had mercy on us. But now that we know that we're the Israelites, now let's get confused coming to this truth. Say, okay, there's only one name he's called by. You know what I'm saying? For church to say Jesus, all the ones say Jesus the same. When you go to church and say Yah, Yahweh, what are you talking about? Same thing with us groups and camps. If we all get on one accord, calling the same name, so we in one order, going to the truth of his power.
Yes.
I know everybody say I call him this and I call him that, but we got to get a true understanding of what we're supposed to do, call anything according to the scripture. Let the scripture bring out what we really should call him, what we really should say. We should be on one accord with that. You know what I'm saying? That's something that we're working on in a lot of info right now, but that's something that it's going to be real hard to do. Because here today, what? They said 4 different names, right? Running one of the group. So those are something that we're going to have to work on later on to get it right. But something to think about it. We got to start always on to find out the right name and call it the right name.
Well, I'm about to say, brother, see, you had the perfect analogy of that when you had them in the chalkboard when you spoke about the devil. Expound on that.
All right. Well, we have to realize,
I looked it up
when you got ancient Hebrew, if you have ancient Hebrew, doesn't have any a W. I wish I had a chalkboard. Something I could. What's it? There's one very good. Please, so I can show everybody because and then I'm gonna use a little scripture to back it up too. You go to Exodus chapter 6, I think, because we have to look at it.
All you need, brother.
Yeah.
Break it out.
Right.
Break it out.
And I'm gonna bring something out too. Again, well, our brother apologized because when he tried to bring this out one time, he got cut to pieces.
That's right.
Because some brothers and sisters don't want to understand, only try to understand. But Ecclesiastes 5:15, it says, "Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small matter."
That's right.
All right.
As the Israelites, we have to teach this stuff to the nation. That's our job. We are the light of the world. So we have to know this stuff. If you don't know this stuff, you will get cut down. There's more to it than just laws, statutes, commandments. You must constantly grow in this walk. You can't just sit still.
Praise to the Most High.
Well, I guess I think it's something.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say real quick, just like Brother Boaz was just talking about the names, in Psalm 68, verse 4, it says, "Sing praises of Yah, sing praises to his name, exalt him that rideth upon heavens by that name." And if you look in the Bible, it says Jah, which a lot of Rastafarians uses to say, see, that's what his name was Jah. But then again, as we know, J wasn't there.
They
So
changed
was
it.
Y. So therefore, it was Yah. You see what I'm saying? So that's another way to find his name.
You got to realize also we getting unlearned a lot of stuff because we was taught different. We couldn't even read, not even 70 years ago. They want you to read. Well, how my grandmama was with Pastor. Granddad was 89. I say 89 years ago. You couldn't read. They didn't want you to learn. You get caught with a book reading, you get whooped, slashed. So therefore, you was getting taught their way, their book. So you weren't getting taught the regular Hebrew manuscript, what you were used to. They didn't want you to even speak that. You know what I'm saying? You was beat down for that. That's what people forget. Back in the time, we've been enslaved 3 times by the Persians, the Romans, and then before that, it was the Greeks. So you done been flipped around a few times in order to lose your whole heritage, to disperse everything that you ever known. So you have to account for that in your mind, to renew your mind, to renew your mind on that is really going on. Because everything is getting brought back out now. It is the great awakening we got to work on now. We're in the last of the Messianic apocalypse right now, Jubilee. So we just waking up right now. So everything is just getting woken. So we have to dig in these books, because it's scattered everywhere, and make sure we get the right books, you know, and be able to pray for the Spirit in us to show us the difference, you know.
Well, I was just going to say, when I was in school in '63, we had brand new textbooks. Okay, one day they stopped. Yeah, they said, pass all your books forward. They passed out new books. Why? We all had new books in every subject, right? So I couldn't figure it out. I knew something was up, right? And then years later, I find out, you know, there was a big propaganda movement in the early '60s where they changed over a lot of the knowledge.
That's right.
And
That's
they're
right.
trying to, even till today, they're doing away with books. They're switching over to computers. So in 5 minutes, boom, they can change the entire history any way they want.
Everything's a nice update.
Also, another thing that I've noticed is, you know, all my life I went from church to church to church. And I'm very good at noticing patterns. I'm an artist. Okay, I noticed they all teach the same thing, even though they all have different names. I don't know if it's because of the 501(c)(3).
Yeah, that's food. That's food, though. That's what that food. That's food that we're talking about.
Yeah, but I kept looking until I finally just kept praying on it, and I found this guy, and he knows more about the Bible than anybody I've ever met.
Okay, quickly, real fast. When you look at all these words, Jehovah, this is spelled Yahweh. Yah, which is all interchangeable. The J and Y is interchangeable. You have Yahweh, which I pronounce it in its so-called pronounced it in ancient Hebrew. You got the Yud Vav He, which is in ancient Hebrew spelled like this. The modern Hebrew spelled like this, which is Yahweh, which is actually the tetragrammaton. It's actually the same thing, but just transliterated differently. Yah, it's all the same thing. You got to see it. It's all interchangeable, all in different transliterations. So when you got the I, the J, and the Y, they all come from the I, the J and the I come from the Y, and they're all interchangeable. You can all use these and to replace each other letter from the Greek and in the modern English. But what we realize, the modern ancient Hebrew doesn't have a W sound. Did anybody know that? Ancient Hebrew, do you know that, brother?
Yeah, I know Hebrew.
Okay, well, do you know that the ancient Hebrew didn't have a W sound? It had a W sound, but it don't have the vowel. This vowel right here, this is a consonant.
Right. Actually, yeah. In the you look at the old Hebrew, the ancient original Hebrew.
Right.
They have that shape, but it's actually a shot sound. The sh sound.
Well,
Silent.
It's a shot.
right. It's actually ooh, a shot sound. You're right. Shoot or ooh. Ooh depends how you say it.
Ooh is when you add the vowel.
Right.
R-A-E-O-O, A-E-I-O-O, those are the vowels.
Right.
Two sets of vowels.
So how do you say the Father's name without the W in ancient Hebrew? If you were to pronounce it, how would you pronounce it? Without this sound right here. Without the W sound.
Without a W sound?
Right.
But that would be, okay, up there, that wa, the ha, the ya, the ha, the wa, and the ha. So where would the W, I don't get.
That's what I'm saying. There's no sound for that. That's why most people, how you pronounce when you say it is Yahuwah. That's how you're really supposed to say it is Yahuwah. That's the correct way to say it. Or if you want to go deeper, is Yahweh. That's the most way, you know what I'm saying? Because the Y is supposed to be a U or a V. The V and the U is all interchangeable. So there's no W sound, so there's no way it could be Yahweh. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You mean the W sound or W symbol?
The W symbol or a sound. Really, because that W sound comes from the U is a W or a U and a V. That's where it comes from. That's where that W sound comes from. It's a modern interjected consonant vowel in the 8th century, the 7th or 8th century. So this W sound was replaced with two W's or a V.
You're taking the Vav, and you're using the Vav as a dominant instead of the Y.
Exactly, because this is the interjected, this is what the W was, and the W sound was interjected in the English during the 8th century. So you have to replace the W with at least a V or Vav. which is this right here. This is what they use for the what sound. So this is actually supposed to be a V. These are the two highs. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I understand. Yeah, okay. I see what you're trying to get at.
Right, because you know Hebrew a little bit, so you know Hebrew, so there's no way, and it's
So,
all.
but you're writing in ancient or on Assyrian? That's Assyrian?
This is modern.
Right, so you want that hot.
Yeah, of course, yeah, you know.
No, because I'm looking at it and you're saying I'm looking at something
right.
else. The characters are different, so that's why I'm bugging
Right, right.
Okay.
So yeah, but now when you look at let's go here. So all of that is a tetragrammaton. Let me go to Exodus chapter 6, verse 3 for me. No, chapter 6, verse 6 for me. Real fast.
Exodus 6.
Yeah.
Exodus 6,
Yes, sir.
what verse you got?
Verse 3. And it said, and I appeared unto Abraham, Isaac, and unto Jacob, and by the name God Almighty, and you know that God was replaced. But the name Jehovah was not known unto them. So God did, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did not know this name Jehovah. And which is all interchangeable, which is, what we call Yahweh, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, or Jah, which all Jah means is power. It doesn't know a name. It's not a name. It just means Jah. Just means basically Elohim, which means God. You have to put a name. That's why even most names have. When you look at the name Isaiah, it has a full name. It's a full, name tool means God likes or power. All Yah means is power. It's missing a full name. You know what I'm saying? Like you got Isaiah, certain different names
He
with
just
the
got power.
yeah, it just means power, or or of God. That's why Yah's not a complete name. So you have to put a name. You can say even like my name, like Sashaya, or Yeshaya, to denote like God like, or I'm with God, or or for power.
Yeah.
God's with me. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So Yah it just by itself, it just means power. That's it, of God or Elohim. So there's no way that could be the name.
So Elohim also, Elohim and Yah is the same?
Elohim means powers. Elohim means powers. It means more than one powers, because there's a lot of different gods. Like an angel could be an Elohim. It's not the name, or it doesn't specifically it doesn't specifically say it's a god, but it just means the God Almighty. It just means a God. And I had to learn this too. If you look this up, brother, you'll see. If you know the W doesn't have, there's no ancient W in Hebrew. There's no W really sound in ancient Hebrew. There's no letter for it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm hearing you explain. I'm staying reserved.
Right.
I'm staying reserved. I'm not saying I'm just hearing the presentation.
When I hear Yahweh, I try to figure out like where did they get that what sound? That that what sound that they get is not in the ancient Hebrew, and it is used for this Hebrew letter right here. So it doesn't make any sense. So that's why I just go to Exodus chapter 3:13 and just use the I am that I am, because it's plain right there. And I know Jehovah, right? It says right here in Exodus chapter 6, 3, the Most High don't know, but our ancestors did not know the name Jehovah, which is tetragrammaton. And if you know anything about the tetragrammaton, you know that's not the name of the Most High. So, that's just my, what's the name, and it just could be backed up. I don't have the presentation and the information right now.
I got one quick question.
All
One quick question. So, if he's saying that they didn't know him by Jehovah,
Right.
that's not saying that his name isn't Jehovah. You see what I'm saying? I think
Right.
is he basically saying that they didn't know that name, but that is possibly his name?
But now, can I ask you a question? Do you know that it's a fact that the Most High was with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, they walked actually with God. And you would think they knew his name. Would you think you know his name? I would think so. I would think my ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob knew his name.
Yeah.
So you have to realize that right there, they kind of snitched on themselves by saying Jehovah was not known to them, which is right here. If you look at it, I see what he's saying. It says right here, Yahweh. In Hebrew, it says Yahweh right there. Jehovah is Yahweh. See?
Yeah. Well, that's what it means in Hebrew?
Yeah, Jehovah is Jehovah. Or Yahweh. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Just interchangeable or transliterated in different little languages. And
Yeah.
So you were saying that Yah means power. So when we saying all praises to Yah,
Right.
we're just saying all praises to power.
Right, of power. Right.
Okay, because when we say hallelujah,
Right.
hallelujah itself means all praises, praise be Yah.
Okay. But you have to realize, hallelujah, it says it's praise to a power.
Hallelujah, that's the strongest.
Right.
That's the strongest. Hallelujah is the strongest.
Right.
Hands down.
But now we have to look at it. We all have to come on consensus, y'all. We have to call on one God. We can't just be like, brother, call on this God. I'm not saying we're wrong or I'm right. I'm just saying let's pick one name that we can all agree on, and call on that God and worship that God. We can't be, it's confusion to be calling on different gods.
Yeah.
The name of God.
I don't mean to cut y'all, but
Yeah.
study to show that some food. That's what we're gonna do.
Right.
We got some good information. We're gonna keep getting some information and bring it out, because I hear a lot of other groups, clan, camps, say a lot of other names. You know what I'm saying?
We're starting to sound like we're gonna put all these names in the box.
Here
we go.
It's like the Holy Spirit gave us D.O.C.
Right,
They're gonna come together. That's what it is.
That's right.
And you gotta have that though. But you can look at, like, you go through this book, you see a W, but you got a lot of W's in that silence. And the Hebrew Shalabi dictionary, through the Strong Concordance, you go through that, you see a lot of that silent word. But then you go back and check all the slave names back when we came across on the ship. All of that Yahya. You ever seen that? The slave trade records of the Great Atlantic slave trade? And you look on that. You get all you see Yahya, like Jeremiah, Nehemiah. So they really
That's a full name that can say that their name, they're with God.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That they're with God. It's a full name.
Just read, those who are called by
Let's start at 1.
Says, and the whole earth was one of one language and one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them brutally. And they had brick for stone and slime, and had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach into heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth now. And the Lord came down to the city and the tower which the children of men built. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language.
Stop. You see that? They have all one language, right? Okay, go ahead.
And this is they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do.
Go ahead. This is the point, verse 7.
Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language.
You see that right there? He said, let us go down and confound their language, right? That language that they were speaking, that original language, right? That pure language. Now, what you're going to find out is he didn't only separate the languages, because he kept one through the line of Eber, which where we get Hebrew from. Eber. He's the one who kept, so supposedly have kept this original tongue that they were speaking there. But this is the monkey wrench. When he confounded, meaning he separated those languages, he also confounded that language. That was part of the confound. He said, let us go confound their language. So it wasn't just separated to different languages. That language that they had was also confounded. That's why when you go to Revelations, now let's go to Revelation. What is it? No, Zechariah? He says, none shall call me Ishi. Where's that one? Zechariah, is it? Let's go to Zechariah. But that's why he says this in Zechariah. So, where is that? 13? No, not 13. The one that says, you shall not call me Ishi or Balaam, or is it in Hosea?
Ishi means Yasha. Savior.
Ishi is man. Ish is man. Ishi is like this man. Ishi. Like you have Irish. Ire and Ish. Which is angry man. Ire is angry. Angry man, yeah, Hebrew. So where's the one talking about?
You shall turn to us a pure language. Where's that one? That scripture. Okay, I can't find it. You shall turn to us a pure language, pure tongue.
Zephaniah 3:9.
There we go. Thank you. There's so much scriptures that I tend to forget. My bad. Zephaniah what?
3:9.
Okay, yeah. Zephaniah 3:9. This is the scripture that backs that. It wasn't only the languages being separated. That main language was also confounded, because that was the main idea. Let us go down and confound their language. So he confounded the language and he separated all the languages so they won't be able to finish building that tower. So now read that.
Zephaniah 3 and 5.
3 and 9.
3 and 9.
Yes, sir.
For them will I turn to the people and pure
Matter of fact,
language.
start from 8. Start from 8. I'm sorry. Because this is a future, to tell you this is future prophecy.
Okay, Zephaniah 3, verse 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, says the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my invitation. Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy.
So this hasn't happened yet. So go ahead.
For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may call upon the name of the Lord to serve him.
Why does it
with
say
one
a pure
consent.
language? Because that language is also confounded. So even if we choose a higher, even if we choose Yahweh, even if we choose Abanawa, it's not the pure language regardless. We might be pronounced, like say your name is Derek and I'm pronouncing it Dirk. You see what I'm saying? You're not pronouncing his name exactly. Excuse me, my name is Derek, it's not Dirk. You know what I mean? So I tend not to get too wrapped up in that name thing. I understand the brother, you know, in the name, and there's a lot more to the name as far as seeking him and when you read the scriptures, doing the name is actually doing the commandments, because you're basically a representative of him.
In Revelation, I didn't know that's line of Judah. Then in Revelations, he said he came as a line of Judah. So that would be another name, right?
The line of the tribe.
Those are really titles, but now when we getting baptized, what names are we getting baptized under? And, you know, regardless, we all don't know the name of the Most High. Not everybody knows, and I completely agree with that. We just come running out with Israel, but it has to come to a consensus. We need to come together, whether it's Yahweh, Yah, it doesn't matter what, we need one name we call upon. Don't you guys agree on that?
I mean,
I still
I understand what he's saying.
Commandments.
Right, exactly. That's
Just
what I'm
told you,
saying.
this is
Because
the thing,
I understand what you're saying, because it brings a thing of unity. It brings a thing of unity, and it makes it sound. It makes it when we go out there, when people say, okay, that's Israel, and this is the guy that they call him. But at the same time, when it comes to the book is saying, okay, my name matters, but not as much as my commandments matter. You see what I'm saying?
Let me just say input one thing. He said even after this whole world going on, one thing gonna stand. His name and his word.
That's right.
So it's the word what matters. Go ahead.
So I mean, you know, we can call them the Holy Book. You see what I'm saying? We can call them what it is that we call them by. But like again, if we're not if we don't have that faith in Him, He's not going to answer our prayers. So I don't really. I'm on board on saying that whatever we call Him, it does not matter as much as it matters on keeping His laws, statutes, and commandments. Because that's the period at the end of it.
That's it.
That's why I say hallelujah. You know what I'm saying? But I do understand exactly what you're saying. It's unity. You know?
That's why when you read God, you put a higher, that's fine. That's
You
fine.
gotta remember, he heareth not sinners.
That's it.
So whatever name, you gotta remember that.
Right.
You call him, I pray, woo.
Yeah.
You ain't keeping the laws,
Statutes.
And look who's going to judge us. I'm sorry.
He's gonna judge you by them laws, not by what you call him.
Overall, yeah, of course, if you keep the law, I mean, I completely understand that, you know, I mean, you gotta keep the laws.
Because you got to think, it's going to be them that judge us. You see what I'm saying? They going to judge us, but they're not the ones keeping them laws.
Right.
You see what
I'm
I'm
just
saying?
talking as a
essentially as a body.
What's that old saying?
That's what I'm talking about.
Brotherly,
Yeah,
You understand what they saying?
I understand what they're saying.
You understand what he's saying?
Is it overstand?
I understand.
Listen.
Okay, we're going with you now.
But can we come together though?
Brother,
Why can't we
brother,
come together?
No.
Let's
Listen.
just begin to speak. Let's just speak.
All right.
Because I keep hearing you saying the body, but there's so many members of the
That's the
body.
body, right?
And we are just cells of the body.
That's right.
Because you got some eyes, some legs, some feet, so everybody want to walk.
Yeah.
So we are not just the body of Christ. Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
We're not just, we just part
Members.
of, there you go, part of the
Many
members.
members.
And, you know what?
I
I'm gonna come clean. When you was up there, listen, the whole time you was speaking, I kept getting this ring. You was speaking, and you turned to Brother James, and y'all was saying something. I kept getting this ring, and it kept getting harder and harder. That's why I was over here like this in my head. And the minute that you was saying that, it was like I got a feeling we about to go. Now I don't like to say war, but we're about to go to discussion about these names. And I think the Most High was trying to tell me, Brandon, it's not about what they're talking about right now, okay? Y'all was on point when y'all was talking about these laws. So the minute when the brother spoke, okay, and you hit it right on the point. The minute you said that, the ring is stopped. That is what is true. His laws, statutes, and
That's
commandments.
That's what you need to be worried about.
All right?
I yield.
So you
You explained the thing. You said what you need to say, bro.
Right, exactly. There's no harming issue.
We don't do nobody like that. I don't like to do nobody like that.
This is another thing. This is what I'm thinking. You said something earlier about, you know what I mean?
I'm James.
James, you said earlier about what has been stolen from us. So this you got to understand. So, explain, okay, the original tongue was what? Hebrew, right? None of us speak Hebrew, clearly. What we speaking now? English and Spanish. That's Northern and Southern Kingdom, right? So we know our language was stolen from us, right? Our name, which is what? Israel. Now we calling ourselves American. You got those names, and you got the slave name that we put on us. All that last name. Those are signs right there, right? And then our heritage and the culture, our customs. So what was that?
Feast dedications, all them.
Laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the heritage. So that's what we coming back to.
So it's what we're waking up to. Because a lot of us sleep. They want to claim
As a
it.
nation, we still sleep. We still destroy.
Yeah,
Right. Hosea.
But see, the only way we're going to get there is come together at the table and expound the truth. You got to get to learn from the bad ways. That's why I say everybody ain't puffed up on the envy and strife. Yeah, you may call yourself Israelite, wear your fringes, but all you talking about is kill the Edomites. We ain't with that. We ain't with that. I ain't with that.
Hey, you go to Corinthians.
Mm-hmm.
In Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, Paul tells you what to teach.
Mm-hmm.
He tells you to teach the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask the brother, hey, what's the gospel? All you gotta do is bring him to 1 Corinthians chapter 15.
That's
What
right.
he said that Christ died for us. He suffered for us, and he rose on the third day. He said, I don't forget. He
That's all I
said,
claim to know.
he says, if I forget anything, I will not forget this gospel. That's the gospel.
That's right.
That Christ died for us, and that he suffered for us, according to the scriptures, and he rose the third day.
When I was in the church, that's what you say. So what you claim to know? I say he died. He struggled. In other words, he died for us. Then he rose the third day. Plus, before he suffered our stripes, the stripes for us, but to be having to go to the Father again because the first Adam messed up. So we had to come to this point. So now that's what I tell everybody. That's what you need to have because you don't believe that. How you gonna believe in this?
Now, see,
Nobody is.
now, I want to go back to something about these people. I'm just saying these people, but when the other nations come and you're walking and they say, hey, do you know how you're gonna, if you were to die today, where you would go? Now, once the moment that we do answer, yeah, that he died, and on the third day that he rose and he saved us, what would be something that we could say to them to let them know our identity? Because the minute that we say that, you already know they fit us into what they are. You see what I'm saying? Because I've always said, once that happened, I've always said, and to let you know I am an Israelite, and this is my belief. And I also believe that we must keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Now, I'm asking my brothers and sisters, is that the right thing to say?
All praise.
All praise.
Yeah.
What's essential?
Okay. Yeah, the scripture for that, go to Matthew 15:24.
Oh, yeah, I
Give me my message.
To the lowest.
Matthew 15:24. Actually, real quick, before that, hold that. Go there, but I'm going to go to Matthew 18:11 first. And I'll tell you why I'm going there first. Matthew chapter 18, verse 11. You know, this scripture, Matthew 18:11, is we're using the 1611 King James with the Apocrypha, right? The original text that was transferred straight over. We know the NIV, this New World Translation, these other Bibles, they don't have this verse in there. Matthew 18:11, just one of us, it's a bunch of them. But Matthew 18:11 is a scripture that's not in there, and this is why we're going to read this real quick.
All right, Matthew 18, verse 11. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost.
For the Son of Man, we all know who the Son of Man is? Right. Christ, the Son, right? Came to save that which was lost. Right? This is scripture that was taken out, and then that raises a big question. What did he come to save that which was lost? Right? What's lost? What's lost? A lot of people don't really understand just that. That's basic, simple right there. So jump over to Matthew 15:4. 15:24. 15:24.
Matthew, you remember that? Matthew 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right, now this is Christ speaking. He said, I am not sent. So when we say I'm not sent, that means I've not come, but. That's a huge word, that but, unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Right? He said it specifically right out of his own mouth. And then, like I said, coming up in these, religions and all these different religions, they don't know who that is, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. They have no understanding of that.
No, I believe that they do know. They just don't want to. They don't want to show it. You see what I'm saying?
You mean
because
like,
you
by
got
the mass?
Oh,
Okay, yeah. They really don't. They think that's everybody. Like John 3:16.
Right. Exactly.
That's everybody. Yeah. They don't know. They don't understand. I gotta say this real quick to say that we never paid attention to, like, look, everybody go to the cover of their Bible. Go to the cover. What does it say on the cover? But we've never paid attention to that first word, the holy. Holy. So what does holy mean?
Some holes in it.
Separate.
That's holes.
But you understand, see what I'm going? Right. The Holy Bible. That means, but see, religion teaches, like Catholicism, is like it's universal. Mm-hmm. But holy means separate. It means separate. That means everybody's not included in here. Mm-hmm. Wow. You see that? And then holy, what Leviticus 20 and 26. God, He severed us from other people. Right, like it goes in second.
But they took it to hide. They take it out of it to hide it, and still put the same name on the front of it. The ESV and the NIV.
Leviticus.
Got a lot of
for the whole. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26. That's what definition of. That's what holy. Holy means separate. That scripture breaks it down.
Now, I'm sorry, I got a question about that. When you just read it now, because you're right, because he did come for the lost sheep of Israel. Mm-hmm. But then when he was saying, is it right for to give the children's bread onto dogs? Now, was he saying that as of saying that the children's bread is this word for the lost sheep of Israel, mm-hmm. and the dogs, well, she was a Canaanite woman, were the people that enslaved us. And then and then she says, but even the dogs eats the crumbs off the master's table. Mm-hmm. So when he actually did heal this Canaanite woman, and he said it was because of her faith, is that the reason why, because I know it also says that we go off into all nations and do this, but at the same time, is that why he chose to still heal her? Was by her faith?
Well, that's a twofold. By her faith, and Christ also knew who she was. That's a little deeper. She was a North Team?
Yeah, I don't want to go into that.
Yeah, that's a little heavy. But at the same time, yeah, the faith of...
Well, is there some way I can get the answer to that?
That's a lot of scripture there. But the faith that go to that real quick. Let's go to that. That's in Matthew 24.
Remember her daughter was 6 years.
Right.
Yeah,
She had a demon in it.
15.
Right.
So she said her faith has made her whole.
That was
Matthew 15 through
15, 24. Yeah, it's right up above.
Right.
Right here it says, then Jesus went thence and departed to the coast of Tyre and Sidon.
Mhm.
And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thy son of David, my daughter is grievously vexed with a devil.
Right.
But he answered her not a word. And the disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away, for she cried after us. And it says, but he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. It says, then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. And she said, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith, be it unto thee, even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour.
That was a parable.
Right, it's a parable, and you know, she believed. And you can see, like right there on verse 27, and she said, truth, Lord. Right?
Truth, Lord.
Right.
Yet the dogs eat from the crumbs which fall from their master's table.
But hey, my question is this, though, because I heard him speaking on something about the Northern Kingdom, but it specifically said that she was a Canaanite, right?
The Canaan is Ethiopia.
Yeah,
Says she's a Canaanite. Also, you got to see also when you're going to when you go into the prophets, the 12 disciples, where they named that? Where they named that chapter 4 or something like that? When he chooses his disciples, he names them. Or in John, he names the disciples. He names them. He gives. Let me see. Okay, yeah, Matthew chapter 10. Start at verse 2. And read down.
Matthew 10, verse 2.
See, I didn't want to go into it, but now.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Matthew 10,
Yeah.
verse 2.
Okay.
Now the names of the 12 apostles are these. The first, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, James.
These are Israelites, right? Okay. Yeah.
The first Simon, I'm going to start right quick so you get that. It says, now the names of the 12 apostles are these. The first, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother. James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother. Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas, and Matthew, the publicist. James, the son of Alphaeus, and Levius, whose surname was Thaddeus. Simon the Canaanite.
Simon the what?
Canaanite.
Was he a Canaanite?
No.
He's an Israelite. He was from Canaan. You see that? So that woman, all right, so now keep that in mind. After you say something, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying
I'm
good.
sorry, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, go to Acts chapter 10 real quick. I'm gonna just give you a brief history about something. And the reason why is because, you know, me being from Northern Kingdom, as far as what I know, this is very important as far as Northern Kingdom, because if it wasn't for Christ or Yeshua, we'd be done. We'd be done. We was cast away, right? So there's a history behind that. So when you go to Acts chapter 10 real quick. You know, Christianity likes to use the scripture as permission to eat unclean animals, but that's not what the vision was about, right? But there's something I want to point out in this though. Acts chapter 10, and give me from verse 9.
Acts 10.
And we start from verse 9.
Acts 10, verse 9. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour.
About 3 p.m. Okay.
And became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven open, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed
Did you
beasts.
see that? There were all manner of four-footed beasts. Are dogs included in this? Okay, read on.
Four-footed beasts of the earth.
Okay, read on.
and wild beasts and creepy things and the fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spake to him again the second time, What God hath cleansed, that call not thou common.
Call not thou common. Because this is what was going on. Now, when you read verse 28, go to verse 28.
Acts 10, verse 28. And he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation.
Go ahead.
But God hath shewed me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
So it wasn't about eating. It was about, see, what was going on was Southern Kingdom was referring to Northern Kingdom as dogs, as swine. Why? Because we basically spiritually unclean, because the Most High cast us away. You see that?
And that was during the split, right?
That was during the split. No, that was the time of Hosea. When you read Hosea, we were going to know people. When you read Isaiah, it tells you Ephraim in 60 years shall not be a people.
Right.
We were cast away. So we became spiritually unclean. So they were calling, when you go into history, they were calling us dogs. They were called us swine. So this woman, see, this is the thing I always used to get to me over the years, was why did Yeshua heal this unclean woman, daughter? And the answers I've gotten answers. One brother explained to me, he was like, no, because she just kept bothering, he was trying to hide from her, trying to find somewhere, and he kept, Lord, Lord, screaming like, crazy. I said, okay, that could be a possibility, but why because of that? Because of that he healed her? You see what I'm saying? So what's going on is, over here, remember, in the beginning, Yeshua said not to go to who? The Samaritans.
Yes.
And he said the Samaritans enter ye not, but these were Israelites.
Yeah.
These were from the Northern Kingdom. You see that? He said don't do it, but then he's talking on the well with a woman.